So the question is, some people would say you can only be successful primarily being a hardware company or primarily being a software company, and there are others that might say, you know, you can be successful doing both. I actually believe you can be successful at doing both, but only within a certain scope. Okay. You know, is Nokia successful because they're a hardware company or a software company? You know, I think Nokia has done a very fine job and has gained a lot of success around the world because they figured out how to bring those together. I think Apple Computer, you know, even though I personally felt they were more of a hardware company than a software company, clearly a big part of their differentiation has been the way in which they've done their software. Yet, I think it makes it very hard for them to succeed, you know, at the scale of the rest of the PC industry. So they can succeed within one scope of the market, but perhaps not in a broader scope. So I would answer your question by first narrowing the scope of what we talk about. Is it the overall market? Then I'd say it's going to be about hardware or software. Or is it within a certain area, or what some people might call a niche? Then I actually think it is important in some cases to try and do both. But fundamentally, they are pretty different processes. You know, when I went down to Intel's labs, you know, a couple of years ago, and I put on the space suit, and I walked and I saw how they were building. I think at the time it would have been the Pentium 5. You know, it was amazing. You know, a lot of times internally we talk about the conflict that sometimes occurs between Microsoft and Intel. Obviously, we have a lot of partnership that we do, but sometimes people talk about the conflict. I went in there and said, wow, they are in a different business. There really isn't that much conflict here. We ought to figure out how to just not let that be what people focus in on. Let's talk about how we partner. So yes, I do believe they're fundamentally different businesses.